has come. Well, what in the world is religious rock? Watch. I think you might be surprised. It looks like just another rock concert, but something different is going on here. This is religious rock, contemporary Christian music, a multi-million-dollar phenomenon that accounts for 6% of all national music sales. $75 million last year and growing. It already outsells jazz and classical music.
It's life, it's energy.
I like it because it's rock music and it has to do with Christ. My parents let me listen to it.
There are conservative rockers like the Imperials. Winners of 11 Grammys, they used to play backup to Elvis Presley.
We feel we are ministers who sing.
And hard, intense rockers like the Res, as in Resurrection Band.
Jesus went to the people. He showed love. He demonstrated an understanding of the heart and the need and the hurts of the average person out in the street.
And Petra, one of the top bands.
When we start singing our songs, we start expressing our faith in Jesus Christ as our Savior.
And the queen and darling of religious rock, Amy Grant, three-time Grammy winner whose records sell millions of copies. This is Christian ministry that reaches young people in a way that sermons from a pulpit do not. This is Soldiers and Sailors Memorial Hall, where most of the groups perform when they're in Pittsburgh. Actually, religious rock has its roots with the Jesus people and the protest days of the late 60s. These days, this old place is rockin' and rollin' with the newest way to make a loud and joyful noise. Glenn and Wendy KAISER are Jesus people. When they're not touring with their Res band, they counsel and feed hundreds of people every day in Chicago's inner city ghetto.
I OD'd 3 times before I turned 18. I tried to commit suicide. It's happening at a much earlier age to a lot of kids today, and they're in our concerts every night.
Whenever religion is involved, you can be sure there's controversy. Religious rock is shocking some of the church elders, and I'll tell you about that tomorrow night. Christian ministry in the language of today's culture, which could explain why it accounts for 6% of music industry sales. But like politics, religion breeds controversy. Some of the church elders say religious rock is inspired by the devil. Religious rock sounds like mainline hard rock, but the lyrics and the lifestyles of the musicians are much different. Many of these rock musicians are ordained ministers. They work with church youth groups and counsel troubled young people.
With the poor, the elderly, street kids, young kids, refugees, just the forgotten people.
But there is strong opposition to religious rock, and it comes from the fundamentalist church.
Rock and roll music is evil. It teaches something. And when you overemphasize the rhythm of a song, for example, it makes people move in a certain way.
Jesus didn't just talk about spiritual things. He dealt with real-life, valid issues. And I think a lot of Christians don't know how to do that. I
wouldn't judge them or question their sincerity, but the music that they use has for years promoted a immoral type of life.
We're fighting those battles of church buildings with people who think religious music is a lot more hymn-like.
But religious rock is the phenomenon that isn't likely to be stopped by controversy. Thanks to people like Amy Grant and U2, a pop rock band with a Christian message that recorded Bloody Sunday. Religious rock is melting the barriers between Christian and secular music. In most record stores, religious rock groups are all filed under the same category, inspirational. But it's changing fast. More and more Christian rockers are crossing over and landing contracts with the big record companies that wouldn't touch them before.
The quality of Christian music has definitely improved over the last few years. You're getting people that do secular music as well as Christian music, and they're producing the same albums.
And producing the same excitement. Religious rock hasn't always been financially successful. That's fairly recent, but it is changing the way Christian radio and TV stations operate, and I'll tell you about that tomorrow night.
Not quite the old-time religion anymore, is it?
Not quite.
Okay.